To give our invocation tonight, Ted Fuson from the Blackstone Baptist Church is here to do that. Would you please join us, sir? And thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Rourke.
Yes, sir.
There's a passage in the scripture that describes what it was like when David took over the kingship, and all of the tribes were sending people to help out as they moved in to settle. And there was one small tribe, the tribe of Issachar. Didn't have very many people in it, and they sent 5 men. And the reason they sent them was, the Bible says, they understood the times and had an idea of what to do. Well, there you are, 6 people elected to represent all the people, and they all hope you've got an idea of what to do. And I pray it's true. Let's pray. God bless these folks who have responsibility to make decisions, to provide leadership, to work with each other in the name of this county and in the name of the people here. I ask you to give each of them an awareness of your guidance and a heart full of love for each other and for this county. In the name of the Lord Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could rise for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There you go. That was a good, strong one there. I like that. All right. Thank you all for that. Is there any amendments to the agenda, board members and administrator? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, just one, please. I'd like to add to new business J5, and that's the work session night that we discussed at our last work session. If we could add that to the agenda.
J5 work sessions. Mm-hmm. Anything else, board members? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the agenda now with the addition of J5 as a work session topic.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We have minutes to approve as well that is in your package from June 20th, 2024. Do y'all have any questions, concerns, corrections, or anything for those minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll so move.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's taken care of. We're going to move on to delegations from the public, and Mr. Sonny Abbott.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Members of the board. Mr. Bowen. As a resident of Nottoway County, and one that has some other duties and responsibilities, occasionally they run into one another. So I hope that I'm not violating FOIA or anybody else here tonight. But first of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for participating in the school walk-around. That was beneficial not only to, hopefully, to this board, but to those from the school system that attended. I'd also like to thank you for allowing me to speak at your last work session. And I want this board to know that I truly appreciate the dialogue that I'm able to have with your county administrator. He is a difficult person to deal with from time to time.
Amen.
We generally can get along. I am not sure exactly what will happen tonight, but there is an item on this agenda that I truly hope this board will table, and that's J4. But again, I simply want to say thank you. I appreciate it. And the reason I'm simply requesting that that be tabled, there needs to be a lot more discussion than could possibly happen tonight while the those of you who are sitting up there. Thanks for listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Abbott. And board members, please, when we get to that item, let's remember to take that into consideration as we move forward with that. We are moving to the public hearings, the special exception for Hardy. You break it, you buy it.
I'm not going to Yates it. Good evening, Board. The item we have before you tonight is for a manufactured home located on 2 of 10 acres on Old Nottoway Road. It's addressed at 5569 Old Nottoway Road. The property, as is all adjacent property, zone conservation, which is a minimum lot size of 2 acres. Adjacent uses include the county school complex to the south, timberland to the west, and residential to the north and east. And it's sort of catty corner to the southwest from the VDOT yards. I think it's 3 Oaks. But what Ms. Hardy is requesting is to place a manufactured home on the newly created 2-acre parcel, which I've signed off on the plat. One thing I need to let y'all know, when I went out to the site, there was 6 junk vehicles located on the property. And I've let Ms. Hardy know about that, and I've suggested at the Planning Commission meeting that we work together on something along those lines to correct that and remove the existing single wide that's in the backyard. And if I'm not mistaken, Clayton is going to remove that. There was no public comment on the application itself. I did not receive any emails or phone calls regarding that, nor public coming in.
Mrs. Zodi, can I clarify something? You said there was no public comment, but there was a public hearing, correct?
Yeah, yes,
okay,
sir.
okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
But just in terms of just what I receive it as staff
Okay.
prior to the meetings.
Okay, gotcha, thank you.
You're welcome. So the findings of fact had led me to recommend approval for this particular application. And that's on page 6 in your packet, I believe. And staff recommends approval for the application subject to the conditions below. A special exception is granted for the placement of a manufactured home. 2, the special exception may be revoked by Nottoway County or by designated agent for failure to comply with any of the listed or amended conditions made by staff, the Planning Commission, and/or Board of Supervisors. 3, must have septic and well permits and seek Health Department guidance prior to occupancy. Per 2.2-2-7 of the zoning ordinance, and secure driveway permit from the Virginia Department of Transportation, and Virginia Department of Transportation is okay with this. And 5th was work with the zoning administrator to develop a plan of action to remove the abandoned vehicles and single-wide manufactured home within a reasonable time frame. And I understand that there might be some additional condition to that.
Okay.
With that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Okay, all right, I need a motion to, unless y'all have any questions, I might need a motion to open the public hearing for the special exception Hardy.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second, please.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The public hearing is now open for the special exception Hardy. Is there anyone to speak for or against the special exception for Hardy?
My name is Jeff Ledger. I'm with Oakwood Homes. I'm the builder here.
Okay.
So this is affordable housing for Ms. Hardy, and we have the well and septic permit already in hand from Nottoway County, and we will be removing the single wide when we clear her lot.
Okay.
So that's nothing that's going to be added on to the end. We'll take care of that in the coming weeks if it gets approved.
Okay.
But yeah, so another affordable house being built in Nottoway County.
Good. Okay. Thank you. Anybody got any questions?
No questions. I do have what I would believe the best way as far as the order of things is we can approve the special use permit. And then when, she's still got to get her certificate of occupancy when the home is complete. And so as part of the issuance of that certificate of occupancy, we could require that the single wide has been removed and the cars have been removed. So they can move forward with their project. But understand that the county needs this debris removed. It's right beside the high school.
Right.
So if you guys want to discuss that idea.
And Greg, is there anything that you can add without having to go back to another public hearing or anything to make sure that there's a time frame to have that done prior to the bringing the new site in, the new piece
Yes, sir.
in?
We could simply amend condition number 5, I believe it is, and say, but prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy,
Okay.
that all vehicles, unregistered vehicles or inoperable vehicles, a combination of both,
Right.
be removed from the site along with a single-family trailer prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy.
Okay. And if the board's okay with that, I'd also like to ask Ms. Hardy, are you okay with that? Is that fair? Is that fair? Do you feel that that's fair? Yes, ma'am, prior to the occupancy permit? Okay, all right.
And Clayton, I think for the record, will be removing the manufactured.
Right, right, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank y'all. Anything else, board members? Okay, is there anybody else to speak for or against the special exception?
Yeah. Before I get voted again in the paper, I would like to note that the planning commission voted in favor of this with staff's
Yes.
conditions by a vote of 6-0.
Okay,
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 thank you. I should have mentioned that.
all right. Again, anybody else to speak for or against? Okay, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The public hearing for the special exception Hardy. And does anyone want to make a motion for or against this item?
I'll make the motion with that suggestion for number 5. I'll make the motion to approve the special exception permit, changing number 5 from staff recommendations to a requirement that all inoperable vehicles and the single wide be removed from the site prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy.
All right, can we get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you go, you have it. Thank y'all. We're going on to the public hearing for the reassessment cycle.
Mr. Chairman, I can introduce that to you. So this didn't require a public hearing, but through some of our discussions and work sessions, we thought it'd be healthy to give the public a chance to speak. We heard a lot about changing from 6 years to 4 years doing the budget public hearings. Anyway, but under code 58.1, just 3252, and that's in E2 of your package, that says there that there shall be a general reassessment of real estate every 4 years, or if determined by majority vote of the county's board of supervisors, every 3 years. Any county that has a total population of 50,000 or less may elect by majority vote of its board of supervisors to conduct its general reassessments at either 5 or 6 year intervals. In addition, Augusta County and Bedford County may elect by majority vote of their respective board of supervisors to conduct their general reassessment at either 5 or 6 year intervals. Nothing in this section shall affect the power of any county to use the annual biannual assessments method as authorized by law.
All right. Well, board members, do y'all have any questions before we open the public hearing? Hearing none, I need to have a motion to open the public hearing for a reassessment cycle.
I'll make that motion.
All right, can I get a second, please?
Second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, public, we are now open to the reassessment cycle, and as you're here, the board is going to be considering reducing the reassessment from 6 years to possibly 4 or 3. Is anyone here that would like to speak for or against that in any shape or form? Hearing none, board members?
Somebody done stood.
Oh,
If I can name from right here. All I ask is that whoever this board selects to do the reassessment, they actually have to visit somebody's residence. They can't do it from a piece of paper or on a computer.
duly noted, sir. Thank you.
For clarification on that comment, when you say visit, at least go see it.
Put your eyes on it.
Put your eyes on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
That has not been done.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else from the public like to speak for or against? Okay. Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The public hearing is now closed for the reassessment cycle. Board members, what is your wishes? If I may speak.
My wishes is not to reassess it no less than 5 years. And reason for it is it costs, to my understanding, $250,000, which is 2 cents to pay the reassessed fee. So we automatically know that the taxes has got to be increased by that, potentially, most likely, to cover that reassessed fee. 6 years is too long because the value can change 2 or 3 times in 6 years.
Agreed.
That's my opinion.
So you said no more than 5, so.
No less than 5.
No less than 5.
All right.
Okay, because.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, my personal opinion as well would be to do this in a series of 4 years. There's even talk about 3, but, you know, things can be moved fast or slow in a 3-year period.
They can.
So for me, I would be safe with saying 4.
And with the cost of approximately $250,000.
Yes, sir. We would have
To the
time.
county.
Yeah, we could start planning for that once we now know what we're doing.
We're doing a lot of planning. I hope it all comes together.
Our word.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to add to 4 years. I understand Mr. Toast's presentation, but I just attended VACO, and the average across the state is going to 4 years.
Okay. Okay. Dickie?
I'm in favor of 4 years. I understand what Mr. Toth is saying also, but I think 4 years is a reasonable time to get it done, and we certainly don't need to go back to 6.
All right.
The appreciation on our real estate since 2021 has been extraordinary. For 20 years prior to that, you could buy anything you wanted in this county and it was not expensive. Now things that sell kind of shock me.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's folks that have come here and realized the value, and I don't know that that's going to continue, but certainly can't wait 6 years. I'm fine with 4.
Okay. All right. Was there any more discussion, or would someone like to put a motion on the floor for a time frame for the next reassessment?
I'll make a motion every 4 years we reassess the property in Nottoway County.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any competing motion? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you, Board Member. All right. Now we have I've never seen this man or his name before. Is this Registrar Reynolds?
Here he is.
There he is. Hey, buddy. What's going on, man?
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I want to thank Chairman Rohr, Administrator Bowen, and the rest of the distinguished members of the Nottoway Board of Supervisors for this opportunity. We have had a very busy election year, well, a partial year. It's only 7 months in. I've given you some kind of a recap of everything. I won't read through all of it, but I'll try to hit the highlights of it. So since the year started in January, we've had 3 elections. On January 9th, we were forced to hold a special election due to the resignation by Frank Wolf after being elected in November for the House of Representatives seat. So that was a court-ordered special election, January 9th. Following that, we had a dual March primary. That was a dual presidential election. The interesting part about the March primary, the state of Virginia has agreed to reimburse counties for certain portions of the cost expended for it. We submitted our spreadsheet to Richmond. I don't know if the county has recouped all of the funds. I don't know if they will recoup all of them. But the state did say they would reimburse the counties for partial costs associated with holding the March presidential primary. And then June came and we had a congressional primary. That ended as all we thought on June 18th. However, it was decided that the number of votes tallied were close enough that a recount could be justified. But because the percentage was above 5%, the state will not cover the cost. So Mr. Good, this was in the election between Robert Good and John McGuire for U.S. House of Representatives. So because the results from a district-wide perspective, not a Nottoway-wide perspective, were over 5%, Mr. Good was required, if he wanted to hold such a recount, to cover the costs, and those costs would entail expenses for 24 counties and localities that make up District 5, Congressional District 5, Nottoway being one of them. That recount was held on August 1st, and it basically involved recounting every ballot. We had to obtain, we had to reprogram our machines. I had to incorporate 8 of our officers of election to actually, do the performance of recounting each of the ballot. Our voting covers about 4 different aspects of our process of voting covers about 4 aspects. So we had a machine to represent our early voting activity, our mail-in ballot activity, our election day activity, and votes counted after election day, but approved by the Electoral Board during canvass. All 24 counties and localities were instructed by the Circuit Court of Goochland, which is where Mr. Good filed his order and request for a recount. So we were all instructed by the Circuit Court of Goochland to start our recount at 7:30. Once completed, we were required to be escorted with our results to the Circuit Court of Goochland by the sheriff and each clerk of each county. Saying all that, it was an extremely long day. I do thank Sheriff Jones and the deputy clerk for being so amenable. I think when we got back to Nottoway, it was around 9:30 that night. Good news, what Nottoway reported in June was what Nottoway reported in August. Our results were the same, no changes.
Good.
There's a lot of detail in here about that, how many officers, the exact officers. We had to have our electoral board members served as coordinators because they were really the ones the court instructed to kind of make sure this occurred. We had observers from both the Good side and the McGuire side, and we had to feed them. As I said, it was an extremely long day, but the results made it all worthwhile. Now we are gearing up for November. Election day is November 5th. We start early voting on September 20th. There's a specific bullet point in the packet I gave you guys. It pertains to the use of a satellite voting location. So during early voting, we have daily voting at the registrar's office in Burkeville from 8:30 to 4:30. To accommodate the other side of the county, because we are in Burkeville, we have a satellite precinct, the Blackstone Police Department, that we also utilize in the afternoons from 2 to 7 p.m. Again, it saves those voters living on the other side of the county from coming all the way to Burkeville to cast a vote during early voting. There is a stipulation that requires approval, so I was told, from the Board of Supervisors for us to utilize a satellite polling location during early voting. So I don't know how that would occur tonight, but I put the bullet in your packet to make you aware that if the the Electoral Board doesn't formally come to you and request that approval, I am doing so tonight.
All right, Mr. If I may, on that point there, have we figured out whether or not we need an ordinance to do that?
To have a satellite?
Yes.
Not so much an
It's under state
ordinance.
code, I would think.
Yeah, and see, that's what I
Well, I
think.
have to notify Richmond.
Right, it's because one of them reached out to me asking about that location, but that they may need an ordinance for it to be 100% legal.
It's already a voting location anyway, correct?
It is a polling precinct,
Right,
yes.
so what type of ordinance do you think might need it for the special, for the
Did you get the
early
email
voting?
too?
Yeah, but the way I understood it, and maybe just something I need to ask legal counsel, the way I understood it is that it's more of a process, that we just have to say, hey, the board put a vote, we recognize that the Blackstone Police Station is a voting precinct for early voting. That's the way I understood it. Okay. But we can put it, the way I understand it, we got another month, so I can put it on September's docket to clarify that through Mr. Elder.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I don't
my
think it's a
intentions would
public
be
hearing
to,
type thing.
I mean, for just
We
me
meet
personally,
before
my intention would be to allow that to happen. I just, with those questions being raised, I just want to make sure that there's, especially in the presidential election, we don't want it,
And
y'all to have to go through
I
anything with.
definitely have no desire for Nottoway to be dinged for any kind of violation of that sort, but I've got to tell you, I've been using that satellite location
that's
for
right.
the last couple of general elections.
That's right.
So we've already been
You always
using it, we just
notify
haven't
Richmond.
voted for it, we've been supposed to be using it.
September.
All right.
That didn't come out a lot wrong.
I think it needs to be.
But anyway, but we'll get that information to me, and I'll send it to Mr. Elder to see, take a look at that.
I'll try to get it to you, if not by the end of the week, first thing next week.
We meet on the September 19th.
Is that enough time for y'all,
Oh,
for
yeah,
us
early
to
voting
get?
starts the next day, we'll be fine.
Okay,
But I won't be
Okay.
using the satellite until the following week.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, good question.
I just want to make sure y'all ain't rushed and,
No,
okay.
these elections I mentioned this year, in the last 7 months, they were numerous. They were tiresome. They were draining. They were the best experience I could have ever gotten. We have a process in place now, my staff and I, that we can follow through any election. A very detailed process, and it's efficient and it works.
Yeah.
I know you all had to do some problem solving at various times, and that seems to have
Yeah.
gone well also.
I believe those, I could say they just go, they go along with the job. So that's how I'm taking them. As I said 3 years ago, my aim is to hold free and fair elections, and I am not deviating from that at all.
All right.
All right, so November, I gave you the dates when we start, when we have different sort of deadlines. The last day to register to vote for this election in person is October 15th. So we've had a number of voter registration drives. There was one at the high school, at the complex on Monday when they had the back-to-school night. Didn't garner a lot. I think we picked up about 8 registrations. Okay. But I have been picking up numerous registrations for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. A lot of walk-ins, quite a few applications being submitted online and by mail. So there is an enormous amount of interest in the November general election, as I guess everyone would know.
Okay.
October 25th is the last day to request a mail-in ballot. Anyone who decides to vote by mail, you have until the 25th of October to complete an application and get it back to me by 5 p.m. And if you do so, we will mail the ballot associated with their precinct to them. Talked about the police station. There are also local elections on the ballot for this year. Mayoral election in Burkeville, town council seats for Burkeville and Crew. So the ballot will be somewhat full, along with the congressional election, the voting for the congressional election, Senate and House Representatives, they will be on the ballot as well. The one thing I do want to say, and I hope this doesn't bring any angst, we're in the middle of a voter placement audit. And what that means is that the Department of Elections requires all counties and localities to go in and basically clean up our roads. The governor's put out a decree. You have a copy of it in your packet. The executive order was basically a sort of a follow-up to our process that we utilize at each election anyway. But there is a very real importance to this one. So we're required to clean up our roads for deaf felons daily, and we are. We also need to make sure we have our voters voting in the right places. Redistricting was my first time doing it. We had a lot of angst about that. Still are trying to complete it and make sure it's correct. So problem with elections requiring everybody to review. And so some voters may, by whatever reason, they may find themselves assigned to another precinct. No one will be not allowed to vote in this election. That is the registered voter in Nottoway County.
Amen.
I think that's it, unless you guys have some questions.
All right. Did anybody have any questions for Mr. Reynolds?
Is it still a requirement as today that the voter shows ID at the precinct when they vote? And before you answer that question, how does that work on a mail-in vote?
Mail-in vote is not, ID is not a requirement.
You have to have a witness sign.
You do. But I mailed that ballot to the registration address provided by the voter.
That you have
Yes,
record
sir.
of already?
For the application they submitted, whenever it was, that's the address the mail-in ballot goes to. They have to put that, whatever address they want it sent to on the new application though. And we have a lot of voters who have decided to be mail-in voters forever. In terms of in-person voting, the state of Virginia requires some form, well, the state of Virginia requests some form of identification when showing up to vote. Driver's license, voter registration card, a certain, any bill, Southside, mortgage bill, something to prove you are who you say you are. We are going to still require identification, and I hope folks are okay with just proving that they are themselves, that no one else comes in and votes in their stead because they did not choose to provide to give us the identification we needed to allow them to vote whenever they come in.
A utility bill, you said something of that nature could be used on the walk-in vote?
Yes, sir. As long as it has the address on file that I have in my record.
So if they tell you they John Doe and that's registered on your record and it shows here and he says I'm John Doe,
I'm gonna give you a form to sign to say you are John Doe, along with that bill from Southside. That confirmation that you are who you say you are will go along with the rest of the voting information from that precinct. The electoral board will review it and decide if your vote gets counted.
wow, if that was a recount, that would take a lot of time if it was many of them on there.
It would. That's why I'm asking now that folks please bring something that's
Of identification with a
Yes, sir.
picture identification.
A military, anything.
Right.
It works.
Well, if I may, I'm gonna steal a page out of your book, Dickie, because Dickie, he's always talking about information, getting it to the public, and he is absolutely right. And I know all this stuff will be printed in the Courier Record and other media outlets. But again, I just want to repeat what's on here real brief. Early voting for the November 5th election begins on Friday, September 20th. The last date to register or update your existing voter registration, October 15th. Deadline to apply for an absentee mail-in ballot, October 25th. And Saturday voting will take place in Nottoway on October 25th and November 2nd. And of course, we'll get this thing worked out with the Blackstone PD, and their hours of operation be Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. to 7. All right. Anything else, board members, Mr. Reynolds? All right. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Good information.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to departmental reports here. I know Ms. Bryant is not here with us, but
Aaron French.
Aaron, yes.
Sorry about that, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening.
How you doing?
Good, pretty good. Hope everybody's doing well. I'll start off with a report on a couple of our projects that we have ongoing. The 46th Bridge is still on schedule. They are working on the abutment A pilings currently. Got some geotechnical reports back for those pilings. Continue to work on getting those in. Our scheduled R cut for the intersection of 723 and 460 is still on schedule to go to advertisement next month in September. Got a couple traffic engineering studies. Got back the speed study results. It was a speed study conducted on Route 460 from 360 to the Prince Edward County line. Originally requested through the board. Traffic engineering did support a speed limit change. It's going to be an increase in this area. It is going to go from 55 to 60 miles an hour. The study has been finalized. Sheriff Jones okayed it, so did VSP. Study's got to get stamped by traffic engineering, professional engineer, signs will probably be put up within a month or so. So we will see a speed limit increase on that section of roadway.
Okay.
We are initiating a smaller scale study for sight distance improvements at the intersection of Indian Oak and Winningham Road. May have to get in there, do some clearing. Got some complaints about sight distance, and I believe there may have been some crashes. So going to see what we can do to increase some safety there. Our State Forest crew has been working in crew on Custis Street, that small rural rustic project that we were running through the secondary 6-year plan. They did that whole project this week. It was a huge lift for them. They'll be moving on to Reservation Road next week to complete that small project there as well. With that work they're going to do on Reservation, they will probably carry surface treatment all the way up to the intersection of Business 460 there as well. Our rural rustic on Crystal Lake Road is getting through the final processes of scoping, waiting for an environmental clearance on that, and then we will be prepared for construction on Crystal Lake Road, rural rustic. Don't have an exact schedule when we may mobilize to do that right now. Our primary mowing began on Monday. State Forest is going to do this mowing cycle on our primary routes. They are starting on the western end of the county and moving east on 460 and knocking out the other primaries as well. I will issue a notice to proceed to our contractors to begin mowing our secondary routes within a couple weeks. We do have some scheduled paving coming to the county as well. This is on our regular construction managed plant mix contract. It is issued for the whole residency. They've been working in some other counties in the residency. They have one more route to work on in another county, and then they'll be coming to Nottoway for the remainder of the paving season. They've got some work to do in Crew. It's a section of westbound 460. They'll be doing section 460 west of Burkeville to the Prince Edward County line, and they'll be doing some paving on 723 as well. So it'll be about a month or so before they get to the county, weather dependent, with this last mobilization they have outside of the county, and then they'll be coming in. We can work with media to get some releases out. Well, probably will be some traffic impacts, especially when they're working in Crew in 723. It'll be flagging operations.
Okay.
Last but not least, snow season has already began for us. We started the process earlier this month of getting all of our vendors signed up and getting all that equipment inspected and start working on our plans for, be prepared for whatever Mother Nature brings us this year.
There you go. That sounds good. No, Mr. Ingram's got something for you.
Are you familiar with the washout on 49 South? Just before you get to the little Nottoway?
I believe so.
The placement of the drums is kind of, it's funny. The drum, you got the washout right next to the asphalt, and the drum's on the other side of the washout. I don't understand the placement of those drums. If you know, somebody could actually go off a road and get in that washout and not get to the drums. So,
But the traffic barrels?
yeah, they're on the other side of the washout.
Okay.
I mean, and I worry about that because that's been like that for a while since the big rains.
The road washed out, Mr. Davis?
Well, and
Shoulder?
the shoulder washed out right up to the asphalt.
And you mean the barrels?
The barrel's
The
on the
orange
other
barrel.
side of the washout. See what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying.
Is there
I'm like-
is there guardrail there in that spot?
Oh, there's no guardrail there. Might be just before you get to the guardrail, but there's no guardrail there.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it every day, and I'm like, hope nobody takes.
Pulls over.
Right.
They go over, they're gonna have a rude awakening. And the other thing, I had a lady talk to me today. She was concerned with the trees overhanging Winningham Road. And she asked me about it, and I said, well, that's a VDOT problem. That's not our problem. So I just want to let you know there's some concern there about trees overhanging on Winningham.
Okay. All right. I will take a look for you.
All right, thank you, I appreciate it.
And I'll write out
All
there
right.
and look at it. And the trees on Winningham, it may be something that we can work in with that site distance.
Okay.
That we're going to do. It may even be part of the study.
Yeah.
We're already planning on taking out.
Hey, y'all got
No
anything
problem, I
else?
appreciate
Yes.
that.
Mr. French, we've had multiple complaints about high speed on Rocky Ford Road. And as you may know, it's a very dangerous road. It's a lot of population there. And we are asking if you could initiate a speed study on that road, on Rocky Ford Road.
Ms. Norton, I'm going to ask and clarify, because I had a conversation about that road with the sheriff. It is a rural road, I call it country road. Is it speed limit 55?
Yes, sir. If there is no
Unless
speed
posted.
limit posted, it's statutory 55 miles an hour.
Okay, and, oh,
So a tight
Wow.
road at 55, you look like you're running 80 on a tight road.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like a lot of residential entrances and exits. There's deep ditches. There's one area that a pond has encroached over onto the other side. It's no guardrails. And if you're flying down, and I've encountered that, flying down that road, somebody's going to get killed. So maybe.
Is there a specific section you would like to analyze, or just the whole?
Ain't there two sections of Rocky Ford?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
it crosses over.
Crosses Lone Pine.
That's right.
right.
Yep.
So do you know if that's the crew side of it?
Crew side.
Yeah, it's crew side.
So from Lone Pine back to the town limits
From the
then?
tunnel, where you enter.
Yeah,
under the
railroad-
tunnel, the
railroad
railroad
underpass.
tunnel.
Initiated with our traffic engineers.
Okay. All right. Anything else, guys?
We give, if you would, Mr. Chair, we give regards to Donna Bryan. I know she took a spiel, and I know you guys miss her. We miss her too. Let her know that.
Yeah, she's a huge help to me. So
Right.
she's doing well as far as I know, though. So
Okay.
ready to get back to work.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Solid waste. Mr. Bowen, you got anything on the solid waste?
No, sir. No, just a quick statement. Mr. Ingram's very well. On 7/23, we had a compactor problem, and I apologize to the public. It went on for about 9 or 10 days, but when you got into it, you got to replacing contactors, and then had to get more hydraulic fluid in, and it just one thing after another, and rain came, and it just was a mess. So I apologize to you. A lot of people use that, and I appreciate their patience.
All right. Good deal. Is Mr. Bowles have anything on the building inspections? Okay. All right. Y'all have your animal
Can
control.
you back up a second, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On page G2, there's some discussion about the landfill with the work session. And it says, halfway down the page, it says, items that must be taken to the landfill. And then the next sentence says, these items may incur a charge at current landfill rates.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So our current rates is $42 a ton, 200 for tires, sludge 104. So this would just be more the general refuse. And I'd just like everybody to have a discussion. Is the landfill a convenience for our citizens based upon their tax, their real estate tax? And so this may is okay, or should it be will? And who gets to decide may, and does Bo get charged and I don't get charged?
Well,
That's,
and I did ask Mr. Gary Easter's here, our landfill manager, and at your request, so he's well. And as Gary said, he'll be welcome to any questions again, but you don't have favorites, right, there, Mr. Besides your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on up, Mr. East. So this line, it says, these items may incur a charge at current landfill rates. So how do you ensure that everybody's being treated fairly and the same?
Gary, he's looking at that right there, so you kind of get an idea what he's talking about. So, excuse me, Mr. Collins. I just want to make sure he knows what you.
This is just for the audience, this is refrigerators, stoves, washers, dryers, larger items like sofas, building materials, tires, paint, and yard waste. So that word may is what I'm asking.
Can I enlighten that for just a second? My feeling on that word may has always been, if you've got rental property, apartment complex, and you upgraded 3 of your refrigerators, you'd be charged for it. But your primary residence is what I was told years ago. Now this is something been 10 plus years ago. I carried a load of carpet up there one day, and of course people can lie to you. Yeah. I carried a load of carpet up there and they wanted to charge me, a boy that was working for me. Mm-hmm. And it came out of my house. And when I talked to them, they called me while the boy was on the scales, and I said it came out of my house. He said, okay, I wanted to get that clarification. If it came out of someone else's house that you was doing custom work for, or even a rental house, which I think that area is great because it's still a house that somebody occupies, that lives in the county, that taxes are paid on, then you could incur the charge. But I certainly understand that if it's a commercial business and they come in and rip the carpet out and carry the carpet Nottoway landfill ought to be charged. Is that kind of how it is, Gary?
That's how it is.
Okay.
So everybody knows to ask those questions and
Yes.
to make sure that this is being done.
Right.
Okay.
And then if they come in, again, show me some ID, show me some mail, say this is your residence, or, I mean, we've even had people come in and say, yeah, we're doing the work for somebody else, but we didn't charge them. We actually had those people either call us, or show us something, and then we'll figure it out from there.
All right, so basically, like if you had like maybe like an elderly citizen that is unable to drive,
Right.
and her son tore carpet out, and said, "Listen, I done this at my mom's house," then y'all can contact them and say, "Yes, that's legitimacy." Okay, all right.
The other question I have is, we know that we're charging commercial customers, and how do you know that the work was done in the county? Is there any, do they have to show a building permit, a renovation permit?
That's it.
In other words, somebody's hauling, up in Chesterfield, and it's gonna cost them several $100s to dump in Chesterfield, and they can run down here and dump for $42.
You're exactly right.
So how do you,
That is, it's
a
hard
problem.
to do. We ask them where the load come from, and I do a, excuse me, load inspection. So in that load inspection, I have to ask the driver where he's coming from.
where did you rip this deck off?
Yeah, and pretty much, just
Take his word for it.
There's really no way to do it. And I have had a couple times one of the drivers or somebody say, "Oh, this box came from such and such a place." I had one of the drivers, one of our drivers, they would go that way to see if it's true.
Okay.
Guys,
The driver we do have in
It was a whole lot easier back in the day of those county stickers on the windshield.
Yep.
There was no question. It was
Right.
Right, you had the county decal on the windshield, and I'd go down to Dinwiddie to the dump box with my county decal with trash off a farm that I rented in Dinwiddie, and that was hard to explain to them. But it did come off of that Dinwiddie farm. But they had something to track it by more like that,
Yeah. Well, the paying customers, contracted trucks that come in, is Edmonds, well, not Edmonds anymore.
Lafferty?
You got Lafferty, H&H,
United Waste.
United Waste, occasionally, Kane. Most of the United Waste boxes, you see them throughout the county. And depending on the site, and I see them somewhere, if there's a lot of construction going on, when they bring the box in and dump it, now you can see the trash or see what's being dumped out. And I can say, okay, that box probably came from this street.
On that site.
Yeah.
Well, and guys, while y'all are on this here, I've always been conflicted with this because, like what you mentioned, Mr. Collins, it's like the taxpayers are paying to have this service.
Correct.
And I understand like building materials and stuff like that, construction materials and stuff like that. But to me, household items are what you're using daily, including furniture, appliances and stuff like that. And I know y'all are only enforcing what is being told to y'all. But I've always felt like if it's a daily use item in a home, then it's household, and the citizens shouldn't be getting charged to dispose of them.
Right. Well, we're not charging the citizens for bringing in the couches, refrigerators. They're not getting charged for that.
Okay.
We stop them from going to the
Convenience centers. That's right.
And ask them to bring them directly to the landfill.
Okay.
The reason that they didn't fill those boxes up fast. And then, we had a lot of, back at the previous board, we started getting a couple of extra dumpsters so we would be able to rent them out to the citizens. Then the trucks started going here and there, picking up or delivering boxes, so they couldn't focus all their time on the containers at the convenience centers.
Right.
Because if we did that, we wouldn't be able to pick the boxes up, they would rent it out.
Right.
So the larger items, the refrigerators, the couches and stuff like that, were filling the boxes up fast, and we couldn't get back, to them.
That's
So, okay, bring those items directly to the landfill. They're not getting charged, even though
Okay.
they come across the scales.
they come across schedule just to make sure they are who they say they are, that they are from the county. We actually, they don't even have to come up on the hill. I got 2 boxes down in the bottom.
That's right.
And they'll go there, take it off right there. If they don't want to try to lift it in the morning, bring it up on the hill and just push it off the truck.
Right, and we've had this other thing, and it just happened again Saturday. And I know, and I know you guys had been doing a great job over on Bible Road, keeping a lower dumpster there. And a citizen had approached and was a little upset to the point where I reached out to Steve because just to kind of make sure that they understood we were looking at it and that it would be getting over to Steve and getting over to you as well. But they cannot reach up and put them in there. And so I'm wondering, is there any way we can keep a basically like a low boy dumpster at these centers?
And I think probably didn't help on that situation. That compactor was down, which
True,
that's right. But lesson learned on that. We probably, yes, sir. We need a low one there. The thing about it, that low one, that thing fills up pretty quick, don't it?
Yeah.
And you're trying to make it through Saturday and Sunday.
Right. And what actually happened was we had 2 call-ins. I mean, not 2 call-ins. We had 2 dumpster requests.
Okay.
For 20 yards, which that's the low box.
The low ones, okay.
So we delivered them, and then we didn't have one to take to Bible Road.
When the compactor went out.
Yeah, but that's on 723.
Oh, 723.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
723,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, with the Bible Road compactor, that was low in hydraulic fluid.
right.
We could get that back up, but the 20 yards that we had on the yard actually were requested out, so we delivered those boxes to residents.
So
And
it's
I
just a
didn't
matter
have
of
any-
timing with things going wrong.
Right, yeah, it happens, it's a snowball. But, yeah, maybe once we get to saving some money over there, we can maybe buy another extra 20 yard or 2.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, that's, we did stop, but we did it to rent them out to the
That's right,
citizens. They were calling, of course, our prices are
better.
better than, so they were calling, you got a box of rent, and I approached the board, the previous board, like, hey,
Yeah.
we can't get a little revenue that way, we want a whole lot, but, I mean, it's working.
Yeah, every bit helps.
Well, good.
Yep. All right, well, thank you. Did anybody have anything else for Mr. Easton?
Got anything?
What do you charge for one of our boxes?
$150 for any, 20 yard. And we got a pickup fee. And it's $150 for the pickup fee, $250 for the big box.
Just called him Mr. Gary.
And then, of course, the tonnage.
Yeah, and of course,
So then you pay for 150 plus your tonnage, 250 plus your tonnage for the bigger
for the
box.
bigger box.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question
Yes, ma'am.
here. What about, and someone had mentioned this to me in the past, what about dead animals?
They can't be put in the boxes. I don't like to put them in at the convenience centers because they attract the buzzards.
No.
And then that, kind of, it's not a good thing. At the landfill, they're gonna be there anyway, so we don't put them in the box at the convenience center. We bring it to the landfill. If you don't wanna come on the hill again, you can put them in the 20 yards at the bottom. Just tell the attendant, so he'll know it's a dead animal in there, and then when the driver come in, he'll just get that box and bring it up on the hill. So, we got a few cattle.
Right.
Cows that come in.
And there's no charge to that to the citizens of the farm in Nottoway, is it?
Right.
Okay.
And that'll, if they smell something and find us a body, they know who dumped it in there.
Yeah, so that's about it. Animals, no problem either.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Easton. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, see you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Sorry about that, John.
No, good. So, but in y'all's boxes, you have number 4, 5, 6, 7, and Miss Tamisha. I'm sorry, Superintendent Grimes, you're here. Do you have anything there? Okay.
Chairman Rourke, members of the Board of Supervisors, I want to tonight stand before you and say thank you. I recognize you all have lots of things going on. You have your busy schedules, yet you took the time to, not just one day, but on 2 days, come with us on tours of our schools so that there were representatives from the Board of Supervisors with us as we walked through each school in Nottoway County Public Schools, as well as the Amelia Nottoway Technical Center and Burkeville Elementary School. I recognize the sacrifice that may have required on your part, and I thank you for that. In addition, I thank those members of the Board of Supervisors who also attended our opening staff convocation. It was really a delight to not only have you present, but also to have Mr. Collins participate on the program by providing a brief address. That level of commitment Your visibility as well as your partnership with the school division says a lot, and it is appreciated. So I wanted to let you know that we had another successful parking lot party for the opening of our school. There were so many people there that it was everywhere you looked, there was a sea of people. It always makes me feel good, and it lifts my heart and my spirit when we can have members of the community come onto school property and engage with school staff, our citizens, and our students, not just about academic things per se, but also just fun things. So Nutsy the Squirrel and the Girl Squirrel was there. Blackstone Utilities were there with their bucket truck, taking kids up in the air. The fire department was there. There was a snow cone type thing there. We provided food, backpacks, school supplies, and just a large mass of community departments, organizations, and citizens, churches, just there to ensure that our kids had smiling faces, our families saw smiling faces, and there was an opportunity for them to know that people care about them in the community. That is fantastic. And we, of course, invite members of the Board of Supervisors in the future, if they'd like to have a table, to also be able to greet members of the community to do so. Our teachers are back. As I said, our opening convocation for staff was earlier this week, and there were members of the Board of Supervisors there. Our students returned to school on Wednesday, August 21st. Our students at ANTC actually started today, and so a reminder to pay attention to the school buses. Don't pass buses when they have their stop signs out, but also just being extra careful and mindful as we have our students getting used to going out to the bus stop, crossing over to get on the bus, get off the bus, and just being super alert as we start our new school year. Thank you.
And Ms. Grimes, I heard that if I ever needed a fanny pack, you may have had one. Is that right?
Oh, my gosh. Yes, my kit, and I spend every minute that I have that's not in a meeting somewhere else in the schools, and my kit is a fanny pack where I have my keys, my phone, my badge, and anything else that I might need in case of
Oh, I thought that was
emergency.
part of the, oh, okay, okay. All right. Good deal,
But
good
if
deal.
you'd like a fanny pack, we can see if we can't get something with the NCPS logo.
Hey, why not? I'll rock it. I will rock it.
He
Thank you.
probably would.
Did anybody have any questions or anything? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Grimes.
Thank you, Dr. Grimes.
Steve, where'd you leave me off at?
Oh,
Oh,
no,
I got the
Dr.
paper right here in my hand.
Towards
Social.
Mr.
All right,
Zodi.
Mr. Zodi. He was talking earlier. Is he gonna talk again?
The only new item I have is that I am currently working on the electronic vehicle charging station grant application through
Okay.
the U.S. Department of Transportation. So far, Town Manager Muskovic is interested as well as the Town of Blackstone as well.
Okay.
I think both of them will be located at their respective airports.
Okay.
The due date for that is the 28th of this month.
Okay.
And lastly, I just wanted to thank the board for our ice cream social last Wednesday. Y'all successfully took me off my diet, so thanks.
Where'd you get that ice cream from? I was curious.
I think it was, I would have to.
We getting in the weeds, Chairman.
Get in the weeds.
It was very nice. I appreciate
It was
y'all
a
doing
shameless
that for
pun
us.
right there.
And I
man.
didn't get none.
I got plenty. I got
All right,
plenty
that'd
left.
be good.
I
All
got
right,
plenty
thanks,
left
sir.
up there.
All right, that's all I have.
All right.
Don't get wet.
All right. Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Bowen, good evening.
Hey, hey.
Citizens as well and staff. Just a couple quick things. As Jerry Maguire said, show me the money, right? Was that Jerry Maguire?
I think it was.
So hopefully we can show you some money if somebody come in, and these are some other things we're working on, so I know you're always glad to hear that news. First of all, today, we completed the Aid to Localities report, and that's going to be sent to Richmond tomorrow electronically. They're starting to be in an electronic generation now. You used to have to paper submit it. And that'll bring in pass-through state monies for the fire, and next month I'll be coming to you with a general consent. So that money will be in the coffers, and then we'll split it to the 3 fire departments. So it's gonna be about $16,000 and change to each fire department. That's coming from the Virginia Department of Fire Programs. We do this annually. The other thing we're working on is today FEMA called, and it looks like we've been working on this since 2022, about September of 2022. And it's been so long, we almost forgot about it. But we put in for 2 generators for critical facilities. One is the EOC Health Department, and the other one at the time was a landfill. And so I talked to Mr. Easter, and even now, if we get the collection station one day or we make any changes, the generator can still be used. FEMA won't let us back it out, but right now they're very interested. So we put in a double package back in 2022, and now they're very interested, and they're asking for photos and some different documentation that we needed to send in on top of what we'd already sent in. So that tells me they're close. I don't know if we'll get it, but we're feeling better about it. And that means a generator, a backup generator for both facilities. The other things working on money-wise, the two hazmat incidents that I worked with the fire departments on last month, we're billing the companies. We're going to bill the trucking companies for those hazmat supplies.
Okay.
So we can get that recouped. A lot of times the cleanup company will restock us on scene. At Walmart, they said they were going to do that, but not all of it came through, so we're going to go ahead and bill for the rest. We're closing out several grants, and here's the good news. Public assistance too, which is not a grant, it's just a reimbursement of public assistance. All the COVID cleaning and all the COVID expenses that we had during 22 and 23 amounted to around 22,000 and change. We got all that back. That came in, I checked with Tammy at the treasurer's office, and that last check came in. They came in 2 rounds. First round was 100% from FEMA, and the second round was 90%. So that's here in Nottoway County. Also, we closed out a couple other grants. We received $7,500 this week on a reimbursement for another grant under emergency management. So all of those are the things that are going on. So hopefully, like I said, we're able to see some of the money now, and we hope we can show you the rest of the money later. A couple other things. We wrote a $250,000 grant for the radio system to help with the engineering piece. That was submitted in July. I may have already told you, but basically that's still in our notes, and we'll keep an eye on that to see how that's going. State Homeland Security Program. And I just want to put a shout out. Yesterday, after we followed up our tour of the schools, we went back over, Joey Shinepp, Chief Shinepp and I went back over to Amelia, Nottoway, Votech, and marked off the fire lanes with the principal that we met that day on the tour. So Chief Shinepp was really good at telling them where crews trucked, how long it was, how wide it was, et cetera. We worked on that. And then I just want to say a big shout out for the fire yesterday on Lone Pine Road. We had every agency in Nottoway County at that scene, and I was there too. And I got to tell you, it was all hands on deck, and it was a wonderful, strong teamwork. All 3 fire departments, both EMS agencies, Sheriff's Department, State Police, we were all right there in the yard of that one resident. So that was just an awesome thing to see, and everything went well.
Mr. Ingram, you look puzzled. Do you know where he's talking about? Neither do I. Do you know the address to that, buddy?
Lone Pine, I don't have the exact address, but it's off of Lewiston Plaza.
I know where Lone Pine, but you don't know what block it was in or nothing?
I do. I didn't write it down.
Oh, okay. I was curious.
I didn't write the number down, but I'll get it to you. I'll text it to you.
It was a structure behind a structure.
Yeah, what it was like a camper trailer behind a structure. It came in as a structure, which was an abandoned single wide, and then behind it was a travel trailer. So pretty large, but not a large, not like a structure. It was a travel trailer type on wheels and frame.
Okay. Yeah. I got a little piece of property on Lone Pine. That's the reason I asked.
Okay.
Sir?
In the 3,000 block.
In the 3,000 block.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. That might help you too, Mr. Ingram. It's in your neck of the woods.
I'm trying to think, is that pretty close to, shucks, what's the name of the road? Harper Road?
Actually got it on.
Yep, right there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
Okay.
Harper Road, that's a dead end, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a dead end.
Harper Road. It was.
All right.
That's all right, buddy.
No, that's fine.
You've answered the question.
I've got it. 2947. I get the text message.
2947.
2947 Lone Pine Road.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So that was good to see that, everybody working well as they normally do. And today was a very busy day, so just want to tell the viewers out there and everyone that's here tonight that your fire and EMS agencies today ran a total of 15 calls just since midnight. And the number of dispatched agencies was 28. So a lot of these were duplicates, like Nottoway Emergency Squad would come out and help Burkeville EMS. So there's duplication in that number, but it was about 15 total calls. And that's pretty much Hurricane Debbie will end up being Tropical Storm Debbie. I think a lot of you I was in contact with last week. I just want to finish up, and this is my last comment. that went well last week, and we were able to take it into a tabletop with fire and EMS personnel. Ernesto, you don't have to worry. Ernesto is going to stay at the ocean. I checked on it today, and I'm sure you've heard it on the news. That's going to stay out. It's going to be a little bit of rip currents on the coast, but other than that, Nottoway County is going to be good.
All right. Y'all have any questions for Mr. Hyde? Anything? But,
Thank you.
buddy,
sir.
thank you for all you've done with that hurricane preparedness. It was great to watch that thing, our preparedness, work like a well-oiled machine. Great job. All right, Mr. Collins, you have anything for the jail board?
We haven't had that meeting yet this month, so no.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it felt different this time.
That's right. So give us 2 next month. How about that?
Okay.
All right, let's see. Sheriff, do you have anything? Okay. All right. We're going on to unfinished business. Mr. Ingram, you got anything on the shelter?
Yeah, I'll let Mr. Bowen hop in on that. I met with the CARES group. They're taking in more money than they had been. I think they're anticipating that something's going to happen. I know Mr. Bowen has been up to the Cumberland site where they had those beagles and they had to close it down. And yesterday morning I was thinking to myself, you know, I don't know who now owns that, but if it's a big company, here's a way to get a nice tax write-off, because if they could donate some of that stuff to CARES. CARES is a 501c or whatever it is, so it's tax deductible. So I think Steve had talked to those folks about that a little bit, and hopefully that's something we can work on.
I think it's already left the company, though, didn't it? It wasn't a private
Yeah, it's not the
investor?
same company now.
Yeah, but it's a probably from a different tribe, but it's a Mr. and Mrs. Collins of Farmville. And so they bought
He bought it as kind of a.
He bought it as
break it down.
as is with everything in there.
Yeah.
So.
You could ask him if he needs a tax deduction.
Well, they've already, all right, so let's talk about a few things, and we can move on with that then. So, the first thing I like to do before we get to that part, if you look in your package, Ms. Kelly had put in that I-1, the animal shelter building, and in there, so and I appreciate Mr. Elder's work on this, to close this deal contract for buying that building from Mr. Boswell. I'd like to ask the board, if you look at the total, you approved for me to take ARPA money, $375,000. With the closing costs is $376,916.50. In other words, I'm asking the board to appropriate $1,916.50 more from ARPA to write that check, and then that building, the next step, I need to get electricity hooked to it. I need to get the air conditioner running. I need to get some chairs and tables so we can have meetings in there.
Do we own it, that we've closed?
We're gonna own it once I write this check, but if y'all give me
What's that number?
I'll make a motion to appropriate.
That's the number.
I will definitely second it.
$1,916.50.
$1,916.50.
If you look at this form right here, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
You see it right there?
All right, there's a motion and with a second on the floor to let County Administrator Bowen appropriate $1,916.50 to complete the settlement for the site that's going to be the animal shelter. Any more discussion?
From ARPA fund.
From ARPA fund.
ARPA fund, yes,
All
sir.
right.
Thank
Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
All right, and so going back and piggybacking real quick with Mr. Ingram had brought up, Mike Gentry and I went to meet Mr. and Ms. Collins of Farmville. They had bought that facility where they had those 10,000 beagles and it closed down. And doing that trip, they have stainless steel 4x6s, a 4x6 kennel. And you have feeders on one side and it's 4x6 on the other side, and that's just a regular door. But we can do it either way we want to. They're not only in good condition, they're in an excellent condition. And we did some pricing, and those kennels, if you buy them new, is somewhere need between $4,000 to $5,000. So it looks like by the wall we have over there, and I had some conversation with the architect, and that's going to be, y'all had already approved, I got to pay $10,000 to retain the architect. But talking to Jeff, the architect, and taking measurements, it looks like that we're going to have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 runs down that right side. So 15 runs of 4x6, and so basically you got to have 30 kennels. You gotta have one on the inside, one goes to a guillotine, one on the outside. The only thing so what I've done, I just approved, they called me and said, hey, if I sell you one kennel, two sides, two doors right now, let me work up a price. So they worked up a price of $975. Okay. So, but they want me to say the rest of it was a contribution. Okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, that.
Right. So, but anyway, so what I'm doing, I bought one out of just the regular budget, not ARPA money. I'm buying one for $975, and I say one, I'm gonna buy one for a mock up, so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and the CARES group. I want the CARES group to look at it. It's gonna be a 4x6 on this door. It's gonna have a feeder on it, and like it's on the inside. You got to pretend, and then on the other side, it's gonna pretend that one's on the outside. On the outside of the guillotine, it's a door, because we might say, hey, we don't need a feeder. We just need two doors, But the architect, this is what he told me. He said, Steve, the main thing is having a visual barrier between the animals, because they get stressed out. And I think that's what Dr. Carr is probably doing,
Yes.
and mentioning Sheila. And I have not talked to Dr. Carr yet, but I'm sure that, and the architect says that is a big issue. Some people put plexiglass, fog it so you can't halfway see on the other side. That'd be the cheapest route. But I've asked Mike to see what would it be for stainless on both down, so they have a visual. And then when you clean it, you can just clean it. You have the drain 6 feet away from you. You open the door, put the dog on the outside, spray and clean, and everything goes back to the drain. So we'll kind of get some ideas of what we need to do. But first, I'm gonna get that thing in there, mock it so it's together. And then when we have our first meeting, I might ask for the board to come by and look at it and things like that.
I think you said retail brand new was 5,000?
$4,000 to $5,000.
5,000.
For one.
And we're gonna get them
set.
$965.
Yeah. So to
50
You wanted to take a look at it.
$650 each? Don't want to take a look at it.
Oh, yeah. All right.
But anyway, that's where we stand.
Great find.
Yes.
And they're really, Mr. Collins he did a lot of work for Kimmer's Construction, and I think he actually was one of the people that went up there to one of the meetings with Kimmer's to bid on the first animal shelter. And I asked him, I said, as a freebie, because we're being buddies here now, would you come to some of the meetings and give us some ideas, because he really understands that, and he built a lot of those buildings at Invico. He built those buildings.
Okay.
What facility you said the kennel's coming out of?
They call it, the name of the company was Invico, and I think it's.
Is that here in the state?
It's in Cumberland.
They shut it down because they had like, I don't know how many thousand of beagles there.
Cruelty to animals.
And they cruelty to animals, they shut them down.
You think the state veterinarian is good with these kennels?
Yeah, nothing wrong with the kennels.
But is the state veterinarian gonna be
They're
good with it?
approved by the
Yes, ma'am.
That ain't part of
Yes,
them
ma'am.
shutting them down on
No,
cruelty.
No, it was animal cruelty.
I told,
wasn't it?
No. And
Steve
see,
and I
some
had
people,
talked, I told them to
people
make
already
sure they
said the
would be
doors don't
approved.
work, that kind of thing. I'm telling you, I took pictures of it, sent it to the architect. He said, wow, don't you let that go away. Okay, so anyway, so I mean, both they got,
But you know
they
how funny,
got thousands.
you know how funny the state can be.
Oh, I know, and I'm not gonna buy anything. I am not. That's why I'm purchasing one.
Right.
For
Then
$900
they come in and say, if we
y'all
don't
come in
like
and look
you
at
can't-
it. You
right.
tell me what's wrong with it.
Well, I mean,
Right.
the others we had offered didn't meet. Remember?
That's right, yeah, because that was not stainless steel.
Those
That
ones Jack
that was, that was.
So
that-
just-
look good, but
just
they
making
won't
would have
sure.
walked
Right.
in
These
there.
things are
Right.
nothing. I mean, nothing flexible.
Yeah, I
like
seen a
that.
picture of it. I think you sent it to us.
And just to say that to you, I mean, Mike Gentry has been a great help to us, and he is just, and he's there. And I told him, I said, Mike, I really do appreciate all your help. And he said, we're real thankful that something's coming to Burkeville right now, and I want to help you any way I can. So anyway,
Good.
so
That's great.
it's been a good experience so far. So far. So anyway,
It'll continue to be.
all right.
It'll all be.
But
good.
we get the building next, okay? And then I'm working on it. Thank y'all for appropriating that.
You good?
Yes, sir.
All right. The, Mr. Bowen, the MOU with the town of Burkeville.
That's just in your package, so that's been done. That was the MOU deciding what they would not charge us for cutting grass, and we would waive that fee.
All right, do we need a formal motion to accept this memorandum of understanding?
I guess you probably would. I mean, don't give me direction to do it, but I don't know if I got you to actually approve it.
I'll make a motion to accept the memorandum of understanding between County of Nottoway and Burkeville, Virginia in regards to landfill fees and the cutting of grass.
All right, can we get a second?
I'll second that.
Excuse me, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we got that taken care of. So the planning commission appointments, you have anything on that? Or is that just being left on there for right now?
That's been left on there with, nothing like Zodi. He books out on me right when, right when I need a.
I did have,
You did have
one.
one. That's right.
um,
Sorry.
all of you know him, and I was on the phone with him on another matter and inquired for names, because it's hard finding people to raise their hand and volunteer. So Ben Green of Blackstone, when I asked him for a name, he said, "Can I do it?" And I said, "There's no reason you can't." Of course, he's very knowledgeable. And it's, after he said that, I thought about the fact that perhaps the mayor of each town should be participating in planning. If you guys just want to think about that.
Yeah, because, I mean, even if they're not appointed, they could attend those meetings and give in, and the planning commission could allow them to give input.
Right. So anyway, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Ben Green of Blackstone for District 5 Planning Commission.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you go.
Okay.
Welcome on my board for us, please. Thank you, sir. All right, the policy on receiving donations, where are we at with that?
Oh, that's still being unfinished business.
Okay.
Mr. Elder and his team, Ms. Douglas, is working on that. But one thing I do want to get straight while we're here, though, because sometimes I think we get things, maybe I'm getting things mixed up the way I understand it. On the work session, we mentioned liability insurance. So donations and volunteerism that's two different things, am I? Okay, but what I've asked Mr. Elder to do is work, when you said we need a policy for receiving donations, and we had the conversation, he said, well, I think you're just gonna need an MOU. So the liability thing is a whole different separate
That's
issue.
different.
So are we looking to form a policy for?
I think that was being discussed, if I recall now, correct me if I'm wrong, that was being discussed about the volunteers at the animal shelter.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
The chairman's concern back in, I think it's always been, was
Right.
you're dealing with animals, you're dealing with a dog.
Right.
Dogs can bite. And so we didn't want to create a situation where we allowed a volunteer and then create a liability for the citizens of this county. So you've got groups that want to help us and work in the shelter. And so we need to look at some way, which is through insurance, and a liability waiver for volunteers. And somebody said the other day, they can't just be somebody off the street that's
Right,
going to
that's
come in.
right.
Yeah, it should be,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
it should be
A little bit
vetted.
of- A little bit of certification, a little bit of training.
They're planning,
Somebody else had talked about, and this is one of the CARES group, I think, they had moved here from New Jersey, and when she volunteered at that shelter, the dogs were color-coded.
that's right.
So an experienced handler knew he could take that dog, or she could take that dog out. And then you had like a green tag, and that was anybody's dog could take that dog out.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're looking for.
Okay.
Yep.
But the first issue is to get the money for help build this animal shelter. So
Yes.
the MOU is the first thing. So Mr. Elder is going to keep heading in that direction. I might have confused Ms. Douglas the other day on email, so I might get
Get the money so they can build out the shelter after we've purchased it. And then we've got to figure out how, because they want to do adoption, so
Yes.
that's going to be
Right, right.
more hours.
That's right.
That we're not going to have salaried folks out there. So you want to have, somebody wants to go out there on a Saturday morning and sit from 9 to noon.
Right.
And that'll be somebody from the CARES group or the other group, Nottoway for Paul.
Not wait for pause, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and to your point, too, I think if those organizations, even with the MOU, have insurance, I'd like to see them list the county as additionally
Yes,
insured.
I think that's wise.
Yep. Okay. You got all that, Mr. Bowman?
Yes, sir.
All right, rocking on to new business. Mr. Collins, you got something on the Yunkin letter for the DWR
Yes,
proposal?
the Virginia Hunting Dog Alliance reached out to me. I was involved with the SAC committee, which is a strategic, or the stakeholders committee in regards to new regulations for hunting with hounds. The study was done, and then they had public comment periods. The public comment periods were overwhelming in support of hunting with hounds. This is a rural county. How many dog boxes do you see every day? How much money gets spent in the fall at our restaurants, our gasoline, dog food? How much fellowship is created when everybody gets together to go deer hunting? And so Kirby Birch asked me to get the support of the board to write a letter letting the governor know that no new regulation is necessary as shown by the studies. So I would ask everybody to approve. I'd make a motion to send a letter to the governor.
I'll make the motion to approve, to send a letter to the governor in support of our county being a dog hunting county.
Well, it's,
By the studies that's
I actually
been
wrote
done.
the letter just as hunting. A lot of our citizens hunt. And when you have folks that want to separate this type of hunting from that type of hunting, from that type of hunting, they keep going until there's no more hunting.
Correct. Sort of like going after a gun.
That's right. So Nottoway County supports hunting. Our citizens are hunters.
Yes. Now, this is the letter that you want?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so the letter's in your package, J1. So the motion that you're making, Mr. Toth, is to, for the board to approve, to send forward to the governor's office, item J1. Is that correct?
That is correct.
There's two little typos. I'm going to get Andrew to fix them.
And you want to put.
With typos.
Because it talks about using dogs in the studies that's been done.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, we could put, if you're all right with it, we'll put, since he wrote it, Mr. Collins, Vice Chairman, under
Absolutely.
his title. and
Absolutely.
Let him sign it, be fine.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay.
Can we get a second on this with the
second.
additions?
A second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amended library budget.
I had mentioned this before to you folks in one of the work sessions. I think that I had cut the budget for the library too much. And I think maybe the Finance Committee wanted, Ms. Norton, thank you for giving me. Anyway, so Ms. Presley and Jackie met, I don't know, for 2 or 3 hours there to try to iron out what we need to do. Because I said, listen, I just need to, the board really wants to just put the minimum back in. Anyway, long story short, I need, you see it there and it's highlighted, $1,074. I'm asking the board to pull me out of this one because I'm the one who did this, and I'm asking, can I pull money from the discretionary fund, which is your line item 15804. You have $10,000 there. I like to pull $1,074 out of discretionary fund and put it in the with the library.
All right, someone want to make a motion for that?
I'll move, we move that money from discretionary to the library.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. We ain't gonna keep bailing you out.
I know it, I think I'm losing my welcome here.
All right, the grant.
Grant, I see the sheriff's back there, I don't know, this is the Burn Justice Assistant Grant Program. I think I need a board approval of accepting this grant for $47,000, I think that's what it is.
Yes, sir. Somebody want to make a motion to approve the grant that is listed as item J3?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we're going to J4.
Mr. Chairman, I would take the advice of the school board chairman very, very well, and we do have some good conversations. And to be all fair, Miss Meyer did not know a lot of these, what some of the problems that the treasurer was running into. I would like to table this. I'd like to get Dr. Grimes, Miss Meyer, the treasurer, myself, and anyone else from the finance committee at this table, and let's have an honest and good conversation before we ask you to do any type of a motion on this.
I'm fine with postponing it till y'all get that settled out.
I wasn't aware of it, so this was a cash flow problem?
Yes.
Money in, money out?
Yeah, and depending on whose lenses you look through, we got to sit down and figure this thing out. I got to figure this out. Anyway,
all right.
But I did want to make it clear to the board. Yeah. The treasurer does collect the money. It's not us.
All right.
You know, that's anyway. Okay.
All right.
J5.
So, board members, y'all give a consensus to postpone until we can get this.
Well, do we have to make a motion?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. J5, the work sessions that you got there, Mr.
All right,
Coleman.
work session night. We know at the beginning of the year we had voted to do it on the second Tuesday. That's okay. Sometimes I think this year was a really strange year, and it's like four times the second Tuesday is the
right before the
same
board
week of the third Thursday, like this week. Just give you an example. plus you get, I've had people complain about this, it's a town meeting. I think you.
Town council, Berkeley.
You went town council and crew the other night or something and came back and then I think your schedule for your, in your business, John, is really tough sometimes on Tuesday nights and things like that. So it would give me more time to get prepared for the meeting if we could do it the second Thursday. I know that that is a conflict with the school board, but I'm telling you, it'll probably be a conflict in anything we do.
It's going to be a conflict somewhere wherever you go, but I think at the work session the other night, I think everybody seemed to be in agreements with moving this back to the second Thursday.
It's virtually impossible at a work session, if we had found something that needed to be resolved tonight.
Yep.
Right.
You had 36 hours.
That's right.
So,
All right, so does someone want to make a motion to place the incoming work sessions on, the scheduled work sessions on the second Thursday of each month?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, on your package, you have the consent items, and if there's no questions or concerns or anything, I need a motion to accept the items on the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
All right, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, now your correspondence items, that is in your package there. Was there anything anybody needed to touch on in those correspondence items? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the administrator's report. Mr. Bowman.
One
Oh,
second.
sorry.
L3,
Yes, sir.
A drought situation.
second sentence. This is to determine a need to pursue a secretarial disaster declaration for Prince Edward County. Could that have Nottoway County, Western End?
From my understanding, and I had talked to Mr. Rash about this, they will prod me on what we need to do on the drought. Okay. And so and actually Miss Cook had reached out to me, Christy Cook, who's her husband Freddie Cook. I've known him for years. Anyway, they're gonna prod me on what needs to be done. I did reach out to him about two. I don't know if I talked to Mr. Toth about it or not, but I did talk to Ricky, and I said, you know, and y'all got a lot of experience with this, Bo. I know you do, but they have to figure out 30%, 40%, like sometimes corn might recoup some. I don't know how.
Yeah,
they go through the whole season. It's a long process.
It's a very long process, and then you got some federal funding that if you don't have your own protection, such as crop insurance, that if you are declared a disaster, then it automatically makes any county adjacent to that county also declared.
Right. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest statement at the end, because this is what I reached out to her, she said, there is nothing you or the county needs to do on your end. It will be handled on my end. I just wanted to keep you in the loop.
Right.
And so that's basically what it boiled down to. So that's why I shared.
So they're working in Prince Edward. It's declared.
Nottoway.
Yeah, like the same way we did with it. In our FSA office is a
Looks like
4 or 5 county FSA office, which is in Prince Edward, to cover Nottoway.
I know they started cutting silage now, so
They have been for a while.
we'll find.
All right, did we skip a couple of places here?
I hope not.
The Nottoway PSAP,
That was
Sheriff Department?
that's all in the consent agenda.
All right, how about did we vote to give the refund to Penske?
Yes.
Yeah, they tied that in.
That's in the
He just
correspondence.
did it as a group.
He did it as a whole consent.
Oh, okay,
He did
okay.
it
I'm
like
sorry,
that.
I'm
That's
sorry,
all
I'm
right.
sorry,
That's
I'm
fine.
I see things and it scares me.
No, I'd rather you do that than we.
Oh, yeah, always ask.
Right.
Yes. All right, was that all you had there, Mr.
Yes,
Mr. Collins?
yes.
Mr. Engel? Okay, all right, Mr. Bowman, your report, sir, please.
Just real quick, because we talked most of the stuff what I've been working on. Miss Norton did ask. She's been against some citizens talking about 911 signs replaced. We had Miss Kelly put them on Facebook and the website, and she said that she's actually get some calls about some 911 signs to get them replaced. Do you want us to pay to put them in the paper? We did not take it that far, but we just figured on the website was enough.
All right, if you're getting the responses, maybe that'll start filtering out by word of mouth. And all I'm thinking about is
I don't think there's any
finances.
need to spend any cost.
There you go.
I think it is either.
Yeah, if it,
As my neighbor gets a new one and I see mine looks bad, then I said, well, where'd you get that?
Well, the concern was addressed to me by several bus drivers with school starting, that a lot of 911 markers are missing, and they're having an issue with that, with the school buses.
can we,
I wonder if
in
the
a
school could
situation?
send out a
Yeah.
flyer.
Yeah, if the school could do that, or if the bus drivers could, if there's anything like in that block or something like that, if they want to turn it over to the school, have the school send it up to us. And we can put that in.
That'd be a good way
Maybe
to
they
get it out
could
there.
put it in some kind of email or something that
All
the
right, let
school
me-
can send out.
If the bus driver sees a particularly bad one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What,
Bus
at his next stop, they're getting in, and you know, make a note before he pulls
All right.
off.
And the other thing is Virginia Heartland Regional Economic Development Alliance. We've started, we have reviewed and adopted the bylaws, and they have elected me as chairman.
Lord have mercy.
Exactly what you need.
That's what I did. That's what I did. But I had to say, a lot of other county administrators have been pulling their weight. You know, you got Lunenburg County Administrator Tracy G. I think she's the
Jail board.
chairperson of the jail board, and Doug Stanley is the vice chair. So Nottoway got to pull it. We got to pull out weight as well. So.
We'll be all right. They selected a good guy.
Yeah, thank you. I hear all the confidence. That's all, Mr. Chairman. I mean, if
Okay.
somebody got some questions for me or something I've been missing that you want me to address, I'll be glad to get on it.
Okay, if anybody got any questions from Mr. Bowen, if not, Mr. Collins, do you have any comments, sir?
This was a busy week for me for county. I really enjoyed Monday. I was very impressed with ANTC. And I'd like for the board to start thinking about how can we utilize the rest of that space. I know Southside Virginia Community College had some interest back in February,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So we've got a pretty valuable asset there, and it's not being utilized 100%. So I think the main thing was having a need for instructors, welding, carpentry, HVAC. So if everybody could just kind of start thinking about that,
Yeah.
that's all I have.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. Mr. Ingram?
I enjoyed the tour. I enjoyed going to the convocation and lunch, free lunch. And it was nice to see all the teachers there. I saw a lot of faces that I had taught myself that are now teaching in the county. That makes me feel good. Really
On the tour, I
does.
saw you get a lot of hugs from people. You
Yeah, I
see
got a
that.
little bit of that too.
Right, right.
All right.
That's
thank you.
all I got.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ingram. Ms. Norton?
Again, the school tours, very informative, and I think we're letting the citizens know we're willing to work with everyone, working with the school board for the first time that I know of in a long, long time. Also, John and I both attended the meeting with Lee Ware at the Crewtown Council, and that was very productive. He went over legislative updates, but one of the key issues he addressed was the water update. He said that Secretary Cummins was involved, and of course this involves the 3 state facilities, and he pointed out that Crew is the key supporter of these, and that when the Secretary and Natural Resources and DEQ met, they said that the service can be provided by the service person that is already there, which that means the town of Crew. They are looking very favorable at allowing the town of Crew to continue that service.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Mr. Toth?
I was impressed with Register Reynolds' information. I had been watching that recount pretty close, and to know that they got the exact same count from our one county of 25 that they had in August that they did in June it's mind relaxing to a much degree, you know, as far as the way we vote and our votes are counted and cast. There'll always be a few questions as to the legality of some of the votes. That's just the nature of the beast. But hopefully they'll keep that clean and keep it moving forward.
Yes, sir. Glad you're feeling better too, Bo.
Thank you, sir.
And board members, like Ms. Norton was talking about, I had the opportunity during that meeting to ask a couple of questions of Delegate Ware, and I wanted to pose this to you all tonight while we were in a legitimate meeting, and just throw these 3 things at you guys. I think maybe if this board would agree, could we reach out in a regional effort to ask the other counties surrounding us if they would agree to ask, because number one, we all know these counties around here have a drug problem. There's not a drug rehabilitation center around here. So if we could get the regional support from multiple counties and present this, and Delegate Ware said that in September they begin the process of getting bills and stuff ready for the General Assembly. So it's kind of a little bit of a time crunch. There is some counties that are looking to do, what do we do with the opioid monies and stuff like that. So this could be a concerted effort where some of those funds could be tied in. Now it's a little bit, but maybe some court-ordered rehabilitations is what may spark some recovery for some of these people that are struggling with addiction. The other item was fireworks. I asked if they would be interested in having a bill put back in front of the General Assembly to legalize fireworks in the state of Virginia. Is a huge amount of revenue that could be garnered out there. And if the state wasn't asking to do it, then allow the state to allow the localities to whether or not they wanted to allow the fireworks within their county borders. The last item I had that I'm asking y'all to consider if we can put something together and also reach out, and those first two items would be countywide, because I think you need regional support on those. Also would be for active and retired military. When they visit a state park for recreation, fishing, hunting, I would love it if we could see if we could get support with the General Assembly to have active and retired military fish, hunt, and use the state facilities free, like the state parks. You know, there's, you know, you talk about when these people retire from military service, a lot of times you see a lot of homeless veterans, you know, they struggle. I see nothing but good things where they could go out there and relax, you know, free their mind, fish, and don't have to worry about paying these additional fees to maybe take their families out. It can mean the world to them. So it's just something to think about. But if y'all feel like y'all want to do this, we'd have to move pretty quick to see if we could get other counties to join us in a request to have them put this on a bill. He appeared to be very interested in these items. So,
what type of fees are charged at a state park?
Well, like some of them have cabins, like over at Occoneechee, they have
an annual fee, parking, kind of a parking pass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you
but
get,
as far as a day pass, all that's free to the general public, correct?
No.
No,
The ones I've been on is like riding horses and stuff, no charge.
there's a pass.
Yeah.
There's a what?
There's a pass. Emory Paws a pass.
The ones I've been to is not.
Yeah. And then
Now, we didn't stay overnight. It might be a different deal if you do that.
and see, you also have cabins like at Occoneechee and stuff like that. You have a cabin, some of them are $60 a night and stuff like that.
Okay.
I mean, most of the time.
That would be great to give to a retired or active armed force.
Yeah. And I mean, it's.
With the fireworks, we probably should have teamed in, brought that up in VACO somehow, because let's see if other counties feel that. So, I mean, when you get other counties, like you just mentioned with Open, when you get other counties, that's when you can get stuff moving.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. If there's any way we can reach out and just send emails out to our local county administrators that is bordering us and start there and see if we can get
I got
a quick response for a letter of support, and we can draft these things.
We talked about this several months ago. You're talking about commercial warehousing of fireworks, or are you talking about retail sales of fireworks?
All.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have railroads here. We have 360, 460, plenty of warehouses where people can store them, you know, make sales, online sales, transportation.
I think the state will. I think the state of roadblock that to keep it as a really small firework. I don't think you're going to be able to sell South Carolina and Pennsylvania fireworks in the state of Virginia.
Well, there's like Pennsylvania, they sell to other states, but you can't, if you're a citizen, you can't buy fireworks.
That's right.
I know, that's why we get ours.
Yeah.
From
I mean, it's
That's right.
a lot of
And you do gotta
retail
show your
money
ID
out
and
there
all.
for that stuff. A lot of it.
But they can't. Those fireworks are not even available in Virginia.
Yeah. Well, that's all I had, guys. And I mean, I appreciate everything everybody's doing, you know, the camaraderie and moving forward and get this thing done. If nobody has anything else, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Did I
make that
see-
motion.
I'll second it.
All right. All in favor, signify by standing up. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whose little microphone thing it was, but I think Bill's playing with a bug or something like that.